Hello and welcome back to A Walk in the Park, a podcast from the City of San Jose's Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services Department. I am your host, Laura, and today I am joined by three very special guests from our department. All three share a common starting point as recreation leaders, a part-time or seasonal role that help launch their careers into greater heights. I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Karen Aguirre, and I am a Recreation Supervisor at the Almaden Community Center.
Hi everyone, my name is Ruth Perez, and I'm a Recreation Supervisor at Mayfair Community Center.
Hello, my name is Maria de Leon, Deputy Director for PRNS under the Recreation Division.
It's so exciting to have all three of you here today, and personally, I can't wait to hear all of your stories. So let's start from the beginning. When did you each start as recreation leaders, and what city or center or program did you work for?
As a part-time recreation leader, and I worked out at several community centers, Mayfair. At one time, Seven Trees was called Solari Community Center, and also at Roosevelt Community Center. I was a facility attendant, and then I was a recreation leader for after-school programs, summer camps, and I also worked a little bit with a senior programming.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I started at the Berryessa Community Center in 2014 as a recreation leader, and I worked for the ACES programs, of that ACES after school program, and also summer camps. I was at Berryessa for about 10 years, and out of that, 2 years as a rec leader, then be benefited.
I started as a recreation leader in 2017 at Mayfair Community Center. I did front desk operations, supported with therapeutics, and also rentals.
I'm sure the audience is curious about what it was like to be a rec leader around that time. So can you share either one of your favorite memories as a recreation leader or a valuable lesson that you learned as a rec leader?
I really enjoyed organizing special events. So my favorite memories were doing big community parties. I'm a social person, so I like to dance, I like music, I like people. And so my favorite events were intergenerational events. Usually they were big cultural events where you had the grandparents, the parents, and their little ones all coming together to just having a good time and enjoy themselves. I was really proud that I helped organize it, and then, forget it, when you throw the music in there and the activities, that's when it becomes a lot of fun. And those were the most memorable activities or events that I really enjoyed being a part of.
One of my favorite memories was being a rec leader at the after school programs and working with all the kids. I think the funnest part in that is you really get to have fun with the kids. You plan the activities, you implement the activities, and then you see the kids doing it. So one of my favorite memories is running the games, right? Playing with the kids, being involved with the kids. That's probably one of my favorite times as a rec leader.
One of my favorite memories that I have was supporting our youth program, specifically Teen Center at Mayfair. Being out and supporting during field trips was a really fun time. I got to experience riding roller coasters, and that's already fun in itself, but seeing some of the teens face their fears and doing it laughing and just kind of creating a core memory for them as well was a very enjoyable memory.
So while being a recreation leader, what motivated you to pursue a career within the city or within PRNS? And what did your career timeline look like from recreation leader to where you currently are now?
Before starting with the city, I had no idea PRNS was a thing or anything, but I actually was part of the LEARNS program, which is now ROC. So I was a participant in after school. And obviously I had no idea that was part of the city or anything. So when I became a rec leader and I applied, I started to learn of all the opportunities that were within our department and obviously with the city. After being a rec leader, I explored the Be Benefited side, which was facility rentals. And then after that, I applied for specialist. And so I started to see that there was growth within the city. It's a fun career. It's very family oriented. And I really enjoyed that about it. So I kept, wanting to move up. And so that's where I'm at now. I actually started as a community services aide, which that with Berryessa is still at the community center. So slowly figuring out that all the different areas that you can work at in a community center, right? It's not just being a rec leader, just working with kids. And there was the facility rental aspect, the specialist aspect. And now as a supervisor, being able to oversee all of the programs, like I see myself continuing to grow with the city. And I just love all the different career opportunities and mentorship programs that the city offers and our department offers.
I was going to school at San Jose State, and I got my degree in public relations. And while I was going to school, I was working as a rec leader. And then when I was graduating, I had to decide like where I want to work for. In public relations, you had to pick an organization or a business that you're going to have to represent. You're going to have to advertise and promote and be a part of. And so I had a decision, like, do I want to go corporate? Do I want to go nonprofit? And I chose government or public service. I chose that because I think it was the most meaningful, where I think can make the most impact. That's when I started getting more involved in looking into more long-term jobs. And that's where I ended up at. And the bulk of my career is in public service, working with different municipalities. But it started as a rec leader, and I came back to public service as my long-term job because I felt that that's where, again, I could have the most impact, was the most meaningful, and I could connect families to much-needed resources.
What motivated me to pursue a career with our department, similar to Karen, I didn't really know what our department offered until I started as a recreation leader. Then I quickly learned how much I enjoyed working with our community and how rewarding it was to provide services to the community that I live in, right? So, and I grew up in as well. So I also just enjoyed working with different demographics and age groups. And so it kept it very interesting for me. So it quickly made me also transition not only just like my interest in career, but my education. So I pursued a degree in recreation management. So that was kind of like that switch for me. The timeline for me, I would say I started as a rec leader in 2017. And then about a year and a half later, I was offered the recreation benefited position, which I did at Mayfair, doing or supporting with rentals, teens, and front desk operations. Maybe a year later, I was offered an interim recreation program specialist role, which I did at Roosevelt Community Center doing fitness programs. And about a year after that, I obtained a permanent recreation program specialist role at Evergreen for senior programs and preschool, which I did for 4 years. And then now I'm here as a recreation program supervisor at Almaden and now at Mayfair.
I think it's so cool that the work itself just led to more learning opportunities and growth opportunities. And I hear that kind of resonate throughout people in PRNS. So it's wonderful to hear your stories. Looking back at where you started and considering where you are now, how do you feel about your work's impact throughout San Jose?
Planning and administering, facilitating public recreation programs for the community is always extremely impactful. And that happens in, several ways. You kind of think about, what we offer, like swim lessons, but that's really a life skill for families. The importance of after-school programs and teen centers, those are usually equate to crime prevention efforts. Art and music lessons usually fulfill like a passion from somebody. Having, STEM class or science-related classes sometimes result in folks wanting to be engineers, and as well as like exposing kids to, in college trips through a teen center after school program. Oftentimes they get exposed to college and wanting to pursue their education, as well as like, seniors, and providing them with fun activities. It usually, prevents isolation. So all those have meanings. All of our programs impact people in the community in several different ways. And that's something to be very proud of. And all these ladies here, the young ladies that are here, they lead all those efforts, and everybody does it in their own way, but always in an outstanding manner that really positively impact not only children, but youth, seniors, and just families overall.
Yeah, for me personally, I think that where I started working with the youth, you impact them directly as a rec leader, right? You're part of their daily life, their routine. So you're, directly impacting them and being a role model to them. And, as I moved up as a specialist, then you become that for staff, right? You mentor, you encourage growth, and then that continues on. Like, currently my role right now is a supervisor. So I feel like as Marina said, you do a much larger community impact, ensuring that all the programs are, running efficiently, that there's high quality programs being offered at your site. So the impact is throughout, directly and behind the scenes, as well as, yes, the community, but also your staff. You're developing the next generation of specialists, the next generation of supervisors. So that continues to go across the board, as you grow with the city, whether you're a specialist, a senior recreation leader, you continue to be a role model. And the way I started that with the youth, right? And then now up to developing and mentoring staff as well. So that's how I feel like I've created impact within our department. And I hope that, the rec leaders currently continue to grow with the city and find opportunities like I have.
I've really enjoyed the journey because of where I'm at now and how I started, because I feel like I've been able to connect with different people and different demographics as well as staff members. And I think it's just been really rewarding to be able to support the city that I was born and raised in. And giving back has just been something that I look back and I really am proud of. And I do think as being able to connect with our community is probably the most impactful thing for me. And I enjoy being able to do that throughout the different roles that I've obtained with the city, with our department, and being able to now be a leader in the role that I'm in. I just enjoy seeing the staff that work alongside me also be able to do that for our city.
Sounds like community impact is kind of the resonating core at the work of a rec leader to a different type of leader, as you said, with this kind of journey that you guys have all been on. So yeah, thank you for sharing. So what words of wisdom would you share with a current recreation leader who enjoys their work and wants to grow their career in local government, or someone who is not employed with us but looking to enter local government positions?
I think my word of advice for current rec leaders or anybody who is trying to move up with the city is to seek out that mentorship, and don't be afraid to reach out to anybody that is, that has walked that path. We all have started somewhere, and I think that really helps out in your journey. It could be very intimidating to reach out and ask for help and receive feedback. But most of the times that's where I see that people that do reach out for help and that do reach out for advice tend to be successful in their interviews or what have you, their applications. And for people who have not started with the city, I definitely encourage to just start somewhere. When I first applied, I wanted to go for the rec leader position, and that wasn't open. I found to just, to get my foot in the door, I applied as a community services aide. And from that day on till now, this is where I'm at. So I just wanted to get my foot in the door in the city and try to get a position. And so from there, it's up to you to really there's no limit. You can keep growing. The opportunities are there. You just have to network, make connections, and hold positive relationships with your peers and, supervisors and other people to connect. And I think networking is key.
I would start by exploring areas of interest and asking to support those programs to gain experience and build connections. Like Karen said, networking and making connections is key. So it helps for future opportunities, and it also just helps you be able to get those experience in different programs or centers. I'd also recommend looking for a mentorship or reaching out to staff members in higher positions or areas that you're interested in. That way you're able to, obtain a mentor or learn more experiences through them. And then for people who are, just interested in pursuing a career with recreation, I would say just take a leap of faith, kind of like Karen said. You don't know if you're going to like a certain program or if that's something you're interested in until you try it and you give it a chance. And even if you happen to, or you realize it's not for you, or maybe it's not something you're interested in, it doesn't hurt to get the experience. Any type of work experience is a tool that you add to your belt, and you're able to use it for other future opportunities. And at the end of the day, you make new connections, which is important as well.
I would think my suggestion, my words of wisdom is really don't discount small beginnings. Working as a rec leader really gives you an idea of what needs to be done from the bottom level all the way up if you continue, moving up in your career. As a rec leader, it's like your front line. So you get to not only plan the event, but you get to facilitate the event. You talk to the parents, you talk to the kids, and you connect with other staff members and maybe even other departments to make things happen. So you get some great great skills. You gain some great skills from being a rec leader. And also, there's a lot of people that are leaders now that were rec leaders. From myself, as I started as a rec leader and eventually became a director for another municipality for the Parks and Rec department. And I did every job in between. And I think that helped me in my leadership journey, in my career journey, to be considered in the top level. There's also folks that are started on recreation and now they're city managers, right? So, the skills that you get as a rec leader and in PRNS, their problem-solving skills, their communication skills, there's the ability to meet community needs. You get to coordinate and collaborate with other departments, plan big events. Those are all skills that you could take and grow within your own department, other departments, or even citywide as well. I know that when I first started as a rec leader, I did that when I was going through college, but I also stopped. When I graduated, I got a job in nonprofit organizations. So working for CBOs for a little while, I got my feet wet, I got more experience. I was ready to come back and get a full-time job. I had more experience, right? Not just within municipalities, but within the nonprofit world. So I would say it's okay to dip your toes in other things so that you could be a more well-rounded municipal employee. That's what's helped me out in my career path. And again, being a rec leader is just the beginning. And like these ladies said, really isn't a limit. I guess the only limit is what you make of it for yourself. I think that surrounding yourself with leaders who, again, are mentors is also a plus, as previously mentioned, but also being able to encourage yourself to keep going even when things may not be going right. When one door closes, another door opens. But again, to me, being a rec leader was a blessing, and I think it helped all three of us get to where we're at today.
Thank you to Karen, Maria, and Ruth for generously giving their time to share their stories today. We hope you guys enjoyed hearing about their own individual career paths and journeys within recreation. Tune in next time for A Walk in the Park.